I've been kicked out of the house and have no place to stay.
Why? What happened?
If you don't have any more money to give to us, we don't want you living with us. You're a nuisance.
Well, you're welcome to live here.
It's very nice of you to offer, but are you sure? I don't want to impose.
Trouble Busters!
You're here again. Don't you have anything better to do with your time? Now that I'm retired, I don't know what to do with all this time.
Well, we don't want you moping around the house. It's annoying.
I'm sorry about that. Is there anything that I can do to help out around the house?
No, there isn't. Please do us all a favor by going out.
I can cook or clean. It would be my pleasure. Oh, you've never done the chores. We don't trust you to get it done properly. Actually, I'm not a bad cook. I used to cook for myself before I got married to your mother. Just go somewhere, okay? We don't need your help with anything.
Yes, that's what we're asking you to do. Get out of our hair.
Okay, I'll go somewhere.
My name is Alan, and I'm 35 years old. I'm married to Helen, and we've been trying to have kids, but for now, it's just us. We're happily married, but Helen's brother and his wife are a pain in the ass. They live with Helen's father, and they've been bullying him. For New Year's, Helen and I drove to Hank's house to check on their father. Happy New Year! How have you been?
Alan, thank you for driving down to come see us.
My pleasure. By the way, have you lost some weight?
I don't think so. I'm feeling okay, so you have nothing to worry about.
Oh, okay. Hi, Hank and Karen. Happy New Year!
Helen, why did you marry this loser? Does he still work as a ramen shop owner?
Alan is not a loser. Please don't be so rude. His restaurant business is doing really well.
Good for you. But you have a lot of debt, right? I'm worried that Alan is gonna go out of business because of it.
I do have some debt, but I'm paying the money back according to schedule.
What's your interest coverage ratio then?
Excuse me? I'm not familiar with that term.
I can't believe that you have your own business, not knowing what interest coverage ratio means.
My expertise is making delicious ramen, and I admit I'm not an experienced business manager. I think my business is doing well nonetheless.
Well, you need to start learning. You need basic knowledge in finance in order to run a successful business.
I've hired professionals to help me with the business management.
You're wasting your money. If you acquired the skills yourself, you wouldn't have to hire people. You're a small business. You can't afford to outsource all that.
You're very knowledgeable because you work at a bank, and that's very admirable.
I'm not asking for your opinion, Alan. I just want you to know that running a business isn't easy, and you don't seem to have the skills. Hank, no need to be so harsh. Have you tried the ramen that Alan makes? It's really good. Dad, you shouldn't be so naive. The ramen might be good, but that doesn't mean that Alan's business will be successful because of it. I'm done talking about this. You two clearly don't know how to run a business.
It was New Year's, and it was supposed to be a happy time, but Hank managed to ruin it for all of us. Hank and Karen were annoyed that Helen's father had defended me, and they took it out on him.
Yes, coming. Hey, Dad. What brings you here unannounced?
I got kicked out of the house.
Why would Hank and Karen do such a thing?
They told me that they were trying to have kids and they didn't want me around.
That's a ridiculous reason.
That's not all. They took all of my savings and retirement money.
They are pure evil.
I tried to put up with them for a while, but then Hank said to me, "If you don't have any more money to give to us, there's no reason for you to continue living with us. We want you to move out." This is my house. You two moved in here. Why do I have to be the one to go? We're trying to start a family. You don't need this much space. It makes more sense for you to move out. I couldn't stay there any longer. It was driving me crazy, so I packed up my things and left.
Well, I think you made the right choice by coming here. Let me talk to Alan about this. Do you want to move in with us?
That's very nice of you to offer, but I don't want to impose.
You're not imposing. We're family.
Thank you, Helen. This means so much to me.
I was surprised to see Helen's father at our house when I came home from work. Helen told me what was going on, and I agree with her that he should move in with us. Helen and I were furious with Hank and Karen's outrageous behavior. We weren't going to forgive them, and Helen and I were going to make sure that her father was happy living with us. One day, Helen's father suggested to us that,
"Alan, would you mind if I helped out at your ramen shop? You don't need to pay me. I feel bad not paying any rent, and I also want to make good use of myself."
"There's really no need. We're happy to have you here with us."
"I like to cook, and I think it'd be good for me to have something to do with my time."
"If you insist, thank you. Make yourself at home and ask me if you have any questions."
Thank you, Alan. I'm excited to be here. What do you think about doing this?
Because Helen's father loved to cook, he gave me a lot of helpful advice on how to improve my restaurant. I took his advice seriously, and because of it, the number of customers coming to my restaurant increased considerably. People started leaving positive comments and feedback online about my restaurant. I was making much more money than before, and I was able to pay back all of my debt. I was so grateful to Helen's father. A month later, things changed drastically though. Hank and Karen came to my restaurant.
Dad! Oh, hi, Hank and Karen. We came to pick you up. What?
We were really surprised that you actually moved out of the house. It was only a stupid joke.
A joke? That's right. Which is why you should come home with us. No thanks, Hank. Helen and Alan offered me to let me move in with them, and I'm currently working here. Yes, I heard that the restaurant is doing much better after you started helping out. It looks like you have a talent in business management. I'm thinking of starting a ramen shop myself, and I want you to work with me. What? I quit my job at the bank. My shop is opening next week. Isn't that exciting?
Hold on a second, Hank.
What is it, Alan?
You didn't even check to see how your father was doing after he moved out, and now this?
Are you trying to defy me? My restaurant is opening soon, and you'll be out of business before you know it. I can ask my former colleagues at the bank to stop lending you any more money.
Is that a threat?
It's not a threat. I know that your restaurant will close down after mine opens. You don't stand a chance. I'm a good business manager, and you're not.
What the hell is your problem, Hank?
Alan, calm down. Okay, fine. I'll move back in with you guys.
But why?
I'm so glad. Thank you. Let's get going. We don't have any time to waste.
Alan, I'll be fine. Thank you for taking good care of me.
Okay. I couldn't believe Hank and Karen. They only wanted Helen's father around when he was benefiting them. I wasn't happy about this, but I was going to respect my father-in-law's wish to live with his son again. Another month passed and Helen's father came to visit us.
I'm home!
What do you mean by that?
Well, Hank and Karen kicked me out again.
Again? Why? They were desperate to have you back.
Actually, I wanted them to kick me out this time. I made sure that they won't be asking me to move back in with them again.
I still don't get it. What did you do? Helen's father explained his plan to me. Wow, that's brilliant! And then he came back to work with me at my restaurant. Things were much better when Helen's father was working with me. The operations of the restaurant were smoother and we could attend to more customers. When Hank and Karen found out that Helen's father was working with me again, they came to see us. But I wasn't gonna let them mess with us anymore. I've had enough. They were going to be punished for their bad behavior. Troublebusters!
Dad, what's going on? What do you want now, Hank? Why are you working with Alan again? Do you know how rough things are over at my restaurant? We have no customers whatsoever. I don't understand why people are lining up to eat here. That's because the ramen that Alan makes is delicious and it's worth lining up for. I make a similar ramen at my place. How come no one wants to eat at my restaurant? Did you purposely give me the wrong recipe? Why would I do that? I'm not a liar. I gave you all the information that I have about making good ramen. Then why does everyone want to eat here and not at my restaurant? How are you using this recipe and how are you making the ramen? What do you mean? I make the ramen according to the recipe that you gave me. Oh, and how much are you charging for a bowl of ramen? $7. That's why no one wants to eat at your place. I don't get it. Why? Most shops charge over $8 per bowl of ramen. So I think that our customers would feel like they were saving money by eating at my restaurant. The recipe that I gave you is for instant noodles. I wanted to see if you would notice it, but I guess not. So if you're making the ramen based on the recipe that I gave you, it's not going to be as good as the real stuff. Why would you do that, Dad? Well, if you are serious about becoming a restaurant owner, you need to know your product. No customer is stupid enough to pay $7 for instant noodles. But by the time I'm done making the ramen, you can't tell that I've used instant noodles. People who come to eat ramen will know the difference. They're not gonna pay for something that they can make at home. That's why your place is unpopular. I don't think that's the reason. The ramen I make is good. You can't tell that I use instant noodles. Are you sure about that? I can tell, and I'm sure everyone else can too. But this isn't my fault. You tricked me by giving me the wrong recipe. You're responsible for the fact that my ramen shop isn't doing well. I didn't lie or give you the wrong recipe. Then what happened? None of this makes any sense. Why is Alan's shop so much more popular than mine? We're serving the same ramen. The same ramen? That's right. We're using the same recipe. I asked you to give me the recipe of the ramen that is made here. So how come I don't have customers lining up at my shop? Well, I think that's because Alan uses instant noodles as well, right?
Actually, we use handmade noodles.
See? So, Dad, you didn't give me the right recipe. That's not what happened here. You're lying. Hank, you asked me for the recipe of the ramen that is made here. That's right, but clearly you gave me a different recipe. I never taught Alan how to make his ramen. That's a lie. His restaurant is doing so much better after you started helping him. I don't know how to make good ramen. That's Alan's job. The instant noodles that I make here are not served to the customers. Okay, I don't get it. What do you mean? After your mother died and before I moved in with you and Karen, I was all alone and cooked for myself. I had instant noodles every day, but I added some ingredients to change the flavor so that I wouldn't get sick of eating the same thing all of the time. What does that have to do with anything? How does it apply to my shop? Since Alan was kind enough to let me work with him, I was thinking of ways to help him out, and I came up with 2 ideas. Okay, I'm listening. The first was to make meals for him to eat after his work was done for the day. That makes sense. Alan makes the ramen for his customers by himself and he's really busy. So I thought that I'd make him something for him to eat during his breaks. So I've been making Alan something to eat every day. The only thing that I know how to make well are instant noodles, so I've been making that. What? I added some ingredients and customized the original recipe so that Alan wouldn't get sick of eating the same thing all the time. Why instant noodles though? Can't Alan just eat the leftover noodles from his own shop? What you're doing doesn't make any sense. But don't you think that what I'm doing makes sense if we consider the costs? Alan wants to keep the good ingredients for his customers. That's why I make his meals using affordable ingredients. Instant noodles are very cheap, so it ends up being cost-effective. But why would you give me this recipe instead of the recipe that Alan uses at his restaurant? Well, you asked for the recipe that I have and make at the restaurant, which is why I gave you the one for instant noodles. I didn't think that you were going to serve it to your customers. Well, you should have been clear about the recipe that you were giving me. I didn't think that I needed to say anything. You're a professional in business management, and I assume that you know the difference. What's the other thing that you've been doing for Alan? I've been giving advice to Alan about how to make his business even better. What kind of advice? When I first started working with Alan, there were a lot of things that I thought could be improved. So I told him this and suggested ways to make small improvements. I see, but I don't understand how that would drastically increase the sales here. I didn't mention this to you before, but I used to work for a ramen shop. Really? You were small, and Helen wasn't even born yet, so you don't remember. Do you know the ramen shop Travis Noodles by the train station?
I do. It's really famous.
I can't believe that you used to work there. I heard that you need to wait an hour or 2 to get a seat there.
I'm surprised to know that you used to work there.
You'll be shocked to know that I'm the one that started that shop. What? The current shop manager used to work for me back in the day. He was really good at his job, so I handed over the business to him. Please tell me that you're making this all up. Why would you give up such a lucrative business? I couldn't continue to work because your mother was sick and needed to be taken care of. I needed to get a new job with flexible hours so that I could take care of you as well. That's why I became an employee of a company. I had no idea. I'm telling you the truth. None of this is made up. If you don't believe me, you can go speak to the current manager of Travis Noodles.
Wow, I had no idea that you were the founder of Travis Noodles. That's amazing. I love their ramen. That's why you gave me such good advice.
I haven't worked in this business for a very long time, and I wasn't sure if I should say anything, but I'm glad that I was able to help out.
I'm so grateful for the great advice. I mean, look how well my shop is doing now.
I'm so happy for you.
Dad, how come you've been helping Alan out and not me?
You wanted the recipe that I was making here, right? That's exactly what I gave you. I don't see what the problem is.
You knew what I meant, and you deliberately gave me a recipe for instant noodles.
I wasn't going to hand over Alan's recipe to you, and you need to prove yourself if you want people to help you out. When I gave you the recipe, you kicked me out of the house again. It was clear that you only wanted the recipe, not my advice.
I had no idea that you had experience in this field. Had I known, I would have asked you to stay and help me.
I see.
Will you move back in with Karen and I again?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, why do you want me back?
I need you to turn my restaurant into a lucrative business, that's why.
That's not possible.
Why not? Why would you help Alan instead of your real son?
I'm old, and I don't plan to getting on a sinking ship.
A sinking ship? Is that how you see me? Look, I apologize for disrespecting you. I had a shitty attitude, and I'm gonna work on that, I promise. But think of this as a business opportunity. If you can make the perfect ramen and I manage the business perfectly, we'll make a great team.
That's where you're wrong, Hank. With some practice, I might be able to make the perfect ramen, but I see an issue with your business management skills.
What do you mean? I'm a great manager.
Are you sure about that?
Huh?
How much are you spending on salaries right now?
Well, it's just Karen and I, so I wasn't paying too much attention to that. If you don't hire anyone else, we can keep the employment costs down. But if it's just the two of you, you don't have the capacity to deal with a lot of customers. We can handle it. We'll just work twice as hard.
You say that, but is that realistic? Are you really a good business manager? I feel like you haven't really thought this through. And where are you getting your ingredients and cooking equipment from?
Well,
There are a lot of things you need to consider if you want to be successful. I checked your shop and you're far from ready.
I can get it all done. I need the recipe though. I can't get started without a good ramen recipe, you know that? And I've hired a professional to help me out.
I thought that you were the professional here.
Well, I don't have the capacity to do everything by myself, and I'm new to the restaurant business.
I don't think it's smart of you to jump into something that you're not familiar with. And how much money are you paying this professional consultant of yours?
He's a friend, so he didn't charge me any money.
Does your friend have the skills to give you the advice that you need?
Yes, I'm confident that he does.
I think you need to reanalyze your entire business plan.
Why?
To begin with, you're serving instant noodles as the real thing. You need to do something about that. My prediction is that you're going to be out of business in a year's time if you don't make some drastic improvements.
Well, what should I do then?
Well, I learned a lot about business management when I started my own ramen shop. You always brag about your management skills. When I saw the way that you were heading things at your ramen shop, I knew that you weren't capable. You might be able to read numbers, but you don't know a thing when it comes to actually managing a business. I would have taught you a few things had you shown me a little more respect, but you kicked me out of the house again as soon as you got the recipe from me. That's the moments that I decided that I wouldn't help you anymore. Even if you are my son, you need to work on your personality first if you want to become a good business manager.
I quit my job at the bank to start my own shop. I used most of my savings already. You have no right to criticize me like this.
Well, you need to figure out a way to improve things. Otherwise, you and your business are going down.
I need you to make the ramen though. I'm not a good cook.
I said no, and that is my final answer. I'm not changing my mind about this.
But Dad, I really need your help with this. Please.
You're probably surprised that I'm letting my anger show right now. It's too late to try to fix things with me though. You should have come to me before you went and opened your shop. You made a big mess of things and you need to deal with this yourself.
I beg you, help me out now and I promise never to disrespect you again.
You've always had a big pride, and I tried not to get in the way of that, but let me just say, I'm very disappointed to see the kind of man you grew up to be. You made a bad business decision, but this is your opportunity to learn from it. I wish you the best of luck, son.
I can't do this without your help. Dad, please.
Hank, you really need to grow up.
Shut up, Helen. This is between Dad and I. This is your fault too. You should have never offered Dad a job here. He was supposed to work for me.
Hank, that's not fair.
Shut up, Alan. I'm really pissed off with you as well. You know what? I'm gonna call my former colleagues at the bank and warn them not to do business with an asshole like you.
Why would you do that? That's ludicrous.
They don't want to do business with the wrong people. I know the manager in charge of approving business loans. I'm gonna ask them to loan the money to me instead of you. And with that money, I'm gonna buy your ramen business. Hi, it's Hank. How are you? I'm calling to ask you for a favor. What? Why? Hold on. I'm calling with a new business opportunity. Hear me out. Hey, don't hang up on me.
It looks like your former colleagues aren't taking you seriously. I guess they don't have a very high opinion of you.
Did you say something to the bank?
Why would we do that? Is this discussion finished now? Because I'd really like to get back to work now.
We still have to talk about things.
No, we don't. I'm busy. Hank and Karen ended up closing down their shop after 6 months. All they were left with was a large amount of debt. They fought a lot about money and ended up getting a divorce. Hank tried to look for a new job but couldn't get a good one, and ended up working for some bad guys.
Helen, take a look at this.
What is it?
There's an article about our restaurant in the newspaper.
Wow, that's so cool.
There's a lot of positive things written about our ramen and our services too.
Great job, Alan. I'm so happy for you.
I need to thank your father for this. He helped me out so much. I also got a call from the manager of Travis Noodles, and they want to open a new shop with me.
I'm so glad that all of your hard work has paid off, Alan.
It was so nice of your father to help me out with my business. I owe him so much.
You worked really hard too. Don't let my father take all the credit.
That's kind of you to say.
I have some good news to share with you as well.
What is it?
I'm pregnant.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm so happy. We need to share the good news with your father.
Yes, let's go tell him now.
My ramen business was doing really well, and I was about to become a father. Things couldn't be better. Trouble Busters.